someone could get kicked in that area, and for the nerve to just fail you all of a sudden, so that you can't make your foot do what it's supposed to do. Like you're expecting to be able to pivot or to put pressure, and then for it to not be there, man, I wonder how serious of an injury do you think this will be?
See a lot of people, they take some of those kicks and they're done.
When you chop someone's front leg off, you start to lose the mobility.
They get taken off their feet, they can't walk again.
And that calf kick has made guys like Justin Gaethje extremely successful.
It's one of those techniques that really 2 or 3, maybe maximum 4 proper clean connections, and that's it.
I wouldn't like to be on the receiving end of that sort of leg kick. I would rather be on, I think I would probably be able to deal with the thudding type leg kick better than the sharp one that kind of cuts through the muscle.
Like in the first round, I was already pretty hurt by them. By the third, I was struggling pretty badly with it. Physical pain, I would say this one was the worst, for sure.
But like those kicks just hurt.
We saw Sugar Sean O'Malley, it hit his peroneal nerve and he couldn't really stand. So
watching the video, I throw a hard calf kick. And after I throw a calf kick, his nerve just shit happens, the same way Chandler got with Primus. And
it's below the knee and above the ankle. I'm aiming for that spot right there. That
Peroneal nerve that runs down on that side of the leg.
There's a nerve that goes right there. I kicked that nerve, and I swear, man, as soon as I kicked him, the change went from chill mode to worried. I could see in his eyes, and I was like, oh man, something's wrong with him.
So he couldn't move on it at all. It's ironically, I've actually tweeted about this particular injury. It's called a drop foot, where you actually can't send a signal down to your foot. You can't move it, and it's pretty miserable. And then the legs start filling up with blood as well.
Well, I think I have a person growing inside me down there. It looks of it.
Those damn pesky peroneal nerve kicks.
Some guys, they just have those shins that where the bone seems to protrude through like through the muscles and the other bits of tissue and stuff. The bone just seems to be really prominent. Some guys, when they hit you with their shin, it's like a knife, like boom. And I think that's a good description of Israel's leg kick. Like he has pretty thin legs, but his shins are like, they're more like a knife. So they really cut into the muscle and do a lot of damage. And Israel's one of those guys, yeah.
We don't see it a lot in Muay Thai, because in Muay Thai, there's no technology. So the fighters' legs, when they stand up, are more close. They're not widespread, so it's very easy to, when you see that kick coming, you shield it with your shin, so it hurts, because you open it will hit your knee or the big part of your shin bone. But in MMA, a lot of guys, because of the takedown and the size of the cage, their stance are wider. If your leg are wide open and you try to shield it like a Muay Thai style, you won't have the time to do it, because your leg are too wide, unless you fight with a stance where your leg are closer to each other. But if you do that, your mobility will be compromised standing up. So there is no perfect way, like there's always a counter to the counter.
Conor certainly was the victim of a lot of heavy calf kicks, and he said afterwards that he'd never really seen them. He hadn't prepared for them. It seems a little bit of lack of preparation in preparing for those calf kicks.
It was not a surprising tactic, and I've got endless hours of footage of sparring on my phone where we'd southpaws throw that kick. We had the great King Cowley over here, one of Ireland's best Thai boxers, and we had him doing that the whole time. But you don't respect it as much when you don't feel it. That is one thing that you cannot replicate. We pride ourselves on our simulation fights we have in the gym all the time, but they're safe. You have to be safe, otherwise the athlete can't make it to the arena. But one thing you're not going to feel is the pain of those kicks, because we're not going to do that in the gym, and then you can't walk for a week. So like I said, not surprised by the kicks being thrown, but very surprised by the effectiveness of techniques. So.
The adjustments that Conor McGregor has to do is in the stance. You cannot press people with the karate stance anymore, because you know why? People are catching on to that. That calf kick is so popular and it's so dangerous now that you cannot do that. Little do you know, man, my last fight with Dominic Cruz, I got away from it. Why? Because people are chopping that front leg out, and we have to make adjustments. So if I was Conor McTapper, this is exactly what I would do. I would continue with the safe stance, but just that distance. You cannot continue to keep pressing people with the karate stance and expect them just to throw hands, because now they know that that front kick is there.
So a good way to deal with that, what I like to do when I used to fight guys that have good kicks, for example, Dan Hardy or Carlos Condit or Thiago Alves, I used to blitzen. I mean, when the kick, I time the kick, or sometimes I made it on purpose. You know, I bait them to throw the kick, and I blitz them with my straight right. Personally, guys, a karate guy like me, what I like is blitzing when that kick is coming.
Yeah, you got to crowd the kicker as well. If you put the kicker on the back foot, then they can't really do that.
What, if anything, could he have done to better protect his leg, to check those kicks?
Well, you see, actually, in the very opening sequence, he's not there. There's a very nice one within the first 30 seconds, maybe, where Dustin tries to kick the lead leg and he pulls it back very fast. Mm-hmm. You know, you bit shorter stance on the toes, on the bounce, lead leg back. And then he went in and threw some shots. So that's number one, that's the best. Even option number two, where we point the foot out 45 degrees, you're still taking it. You know, that's kind of the option where you weren't fast enough, the timing wasn't there to get the lead leg out of the way. So you've got to turn out the foot. And he actually did that quite well. You see, there was at least 2 times where he points the foot out, catches the lead leg and throws a punch, or, you know, ends up with kind of like a single leg position. And I was really hoping that would put Dustin off throwing any more of them, but he didn't. He kept with them, and Conor just 2 or 3 of them landed, and then it didn't even matter. You know, you could try to check, and it's so compromised at that stage that not a whole lot we can do about it at that point. But then those damn pesky peroneal nerve kicks.
Well, I've been kicked that way with my training partner has shin pads on, and I have shin pads on.
Right. So
it's a little different, you know. Like, as soon as I kicked him, I felt my shin hit his bone. Like, I felt it, and I looked in his eyes, and man, I'm telling you, dude, I saw it in his eyes. It just, something was wrong.